In this video, we are going to learn what is an HTML, what is the basic structure of HTML, and we will go through a small web page. You are watching MGK channel. This is the basics of HTML. So let's get started. What is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. The basic structure of any web page based on HTML. Whenever you have to create a web page or web-based application, the page based on HTML tags and elements. What is tags? Tags tell the browser what to do, what to show. It has to show a paragraph. It has to show headings. The HTML, there is HTML tags that tells the browser. Browser do not display the HTML tag, but use them to render the content of the page. So let's get started and let's know about what is tags. HTML tags are hidden keywords within a web page that define how your browser must format and display the content. As I tell you before, it has to show a paragraph, it has to show a heading. Paragraph has a different tag. To show a heading, it has a different tag. Most of the tags have two parts, opening and closing parts. Let's suppose HTML is a tag. It has two parts, simple HTML sandwich in angle brackets. It's called opening tag. And the text between angle tags with the forward slash is closing tag. Let's move on and create a small web page to understand what is HTML. So let's create a file. You can create file anywhere in your computer. I'm going to create a file here with the extension name HTML. I'm going to create a file named index.html. Yes. I'm going to open up in a text editor. There are many kind of text editors, but I'm going to use a Sublime text editor, which is I'm familiar with, and I am very comfortable to use that Sublime text editor. So going to open up a file in text editor. The Sublime text editor give me a more intelligence. Let's check it out. I'm going to write an HTML and just going to press a tab. Then it will give me a basic structure of an HTML. The basic structure of a web page. It has a DOCTYPE, it has a root tag HTML, and it has two tags, head tag and body tag, and a title tag. Let's understand the basic structure of an HTML. The DOCTYPE HTML declaration defines this document to be HTML5. This declaration tells that the document is based on HTML5. HTML element is the root element of an HTML page. HTML, under this HTML tag, we have two basic tags. A head tag. Head contains metadata of a document. That data is not visible. Like we give the name of the page which shows in the top of the browser, or which shows on the tab name. It has also a body tag. Body elements contain the visible content page. Whenever you see content on any web page, that content must be written in the in between body tag. So let's understand what does head tag do and how can we utilize it. Container for metadata. Metadata is the data about the HTML document, and that metadata is not visible on the page. Title define the page title in the browser tab, which shows on the browser tab. It has a meta tag as well, which define which character set you are using. You are using ASCIIs, ASCII codes, you are using other general languages that like you have when you are using a Chinese, Japanese, or other languages. You have to define in character set. You have to define that character set in your meta tag. And other things, page descriptions, keyword, which helps the SEO to indexing, and many more, author name and many more. Style. Okay, the HTML is the basic structures, and whenever you have to give the colors, you have to give the padding, you have to give the spacing, we use styles. We will cover it further after the basics of HTML. We will move on to the styles, so keep watching these videos. Okay, there is another link we used in a head tag is link tag. Link is used to link the external style sheets. There are three types of style sheets: inline styling, external style sheet, and internal style sheet. We will cover in future. Script is used to write JavaScript code or define external JavaScript file in it. These are the tags we use in the head tag. Let's move on to further. What does the body tag do? Defines the document's body. Element contain all the content of an HTML document, such as text, hyperlinks, images, tables, and lists, and etc., etc. Like I tell you before, that body tags, it shows the content of the page. Let's move on and do practice how a web page works. In the Sublime, you just write an HTML and just press tab. You will see the basic structure which I have covered before. What is an HTML? Like I am going to write this page title name, learning HTML. And we will see the results. This is the my file, and I'm going to open up, and you will see the learning HTML is visible on the browser tab name. So what is heading? Headings are defined within the H1 to H6 tags. Within the H1 to H6 tags, H1 is the most important heading will cover further. Paragraph is defined with the p tag. P tag has an opening tag and closing tag as well, and we will write between these two tags. So let's try it. I am going to write h1. This is the h1 heading, and we will go to, and we will see the results here. Going to refresh. This is the h1 heading is visible here, as you can see. Let's add it more. Now I'm going to add h2 heading. This is the h2 heading, and going to refresh this page. As you can see, h2 heading is a bit smaller than h1 heading. Let's do some more things. Going to add h3 heading. This is the h3 heading. I'm going to refresh my web page. As you can see, the h3 heading is a bit smaller than h2 heading. And this is further you will create h4 and h5 and h6 heading. The HTML has 1 to 6 heading tags. h1 tag is bigger, h2 is a bit smaller, h3 is a bit smaller, and h4 is a bit smaller, and so on. So let's talk about how do we write it. So how can we write it? A paragraph. As we learned before, we can write a paragraph with the p tag, opening tag, and closing tag. And I'm going to write it. This is the paragraph. Once upon a time, there was a boy and a man walking in a street. Let's save it and check it out. What is out? As you can see, the paragraph is simple paragraph in fonts, in the written types. So this is the basics of an HTML. Keep watching and learn more about the HTML.